Get caught in a net with ANet. For your mind, body, and soul. Get caught in a net with ANet. It's your intellectual radio show. Here to inspire you and encourage you to be your very best. Get caught in a net with ANet.
You are now tuned in to Mind, Body, and Soul with ANet, where your hosts, Annette Harris, analyze intriguing life questions and concerns, such as, do Christians suffer from mental illness? Have you wondered why they act abnormal? Or you may ask, what is really going on in their minds? Do you need ANet? Well, keep listening for a biblical understanding of the psychology of the mind.
Hey guys, welcome to another wonderful segment. Ooh, let me change this. Of Mind, Body, and Soul with ANet, GetcaughtinANet Incorporated. I am your CEO of GetcaughtinANet Incorporated, and also your positive mental health ambassador. And I'm so excited that you guys are joining us on this special segment on today. Today is Monday, so don't readjust your screens and say, hey, she's supposed to be on a Wednesday. We're just doing a special segment on today because I want to chit chat and talk with a beautiful woman of God that I have had the pleasure of meeting. Oh God, how long has it been now? Do you know, LaSonya?
I think 4 years, going on 4 years.
4 years? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
At
right.
least 3 for sure.
Right, for sure. And we'll talk about how we got a chance to meet, but I'm talking with her on today, and I'm so excited about it because one thing that I have learned about this young woman, she is definitely one who perseveres. She is definitely one who, when she has certain obstacles that are in her life, in her family's life, she doesn't let it deter her. Sure, you know, when you go through things, you know, it kind of bothers you, maybe kind of almost sometimes maybe get the best of you, but she comes out on top. That's what I noticed. And it's a blessing because she's an encouragement to others. And so on today, you've seen my promos on today talking about this beautiful woman of God. Let me read just a little bit about her bio for you guys on today. And I have here Miss American Elegance Sophisticate 2021 to 2022. Queen LaSonya is the CEO and founder of nonprofits. There are 3 here. Moms Can Do It Too, the number 2. Kids Can Do It Too, the number 2. And Dads Can Do It Too, the number 2. These organizations were created for single mothers, children, and single fathers, respectively. And there's so much more we're going to jump into talking about these organizations, but let me just read a little bit more. It says here, the focus with these organizations is to help families rebuild and improve their quality of life after experiencing hardships. LaSonya is known for her giving and supporting of many other organizations and her annual pre-Mother's Day Ready to Work Closet events for single moms. I love that. She also hosts a diapers and wipes drive benefiting single parents. She was recently crowned the new national title, y'all caught that right, national, of Miss American Elegance Sophisticate 2021-2022 for the American Elegance Pageant. She was also recently a featured runway model at New York Fashion Week and walked for 5 designers. Ooh. At the Beauty It's Everywhere showcase. She is also a CCP Illinois Royalty Ambassador for Cisco and Cisco. LaSonya is a super mom of 7 and uses her experiences of overcoming to motivate and inspire. She regularly hosts Ready to Work Closet events for single mothers to help prepare them for new careers. She will continue to work to show the world, put more words in than I should have, moms can do it too. Welcome again, or back, returning to Mind, Body, and Soul, Get Caught in a Net, Queen LaSonya Alexander. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm excited. I feel wonderful. I'm so happy to be back on this show. I absolutely love this show, mainly because of the transparency, the information that you provide. This is one of the most enlightening shows that, I've watched. So I am honored to continuously be invited back as a guest. So I'm excited.
Oh, honey, we love you. We just love you here. And she talked about transparency. I'm going to jump right into talking about how we met. I'll just refresh many of you who probably know already, and those of you who don't. LaSonya, when she and I met, I was actually hosting a play that was written by my cousin, Mia Ogburn. And when she had me to host this, I was supposed to tell what was coming up next and everything. And then she pulled me in the back before the event started. And she said, you know what? I want to honor this beautiful woman of God. And we're going to give her this award. We're going to give her this gift. And so she had me, the information to talk about this young lady. And I said, okay, that's fine. So at the time that it came for me to do that, I'm looking at this beautiful woman as she walks up, and then, I'm like, okay, this your gift, did my little spiel or whatever. And she gets up and she comes to the mic and she talks. Wait, let me back up. She had on a gorgeous outfit. Never forget it. Black and white stripe, this beautiful dress. And when she started talking, she said, one of the things that really caught my attention was that she had been homeless. She had been living in her car, prior. And she talked about a lot of the hardships that she endured. And my neck whipped around and I said, homeless where? Because of how she presented herself with such elegance. It was with such grace. And it showed me and it showed others how to persevere, how to come out. So what I said in the beginning of this show on today, this is why I love her. This is why I appreciate her and what she presents to the world. It's not a show and tell. Yeah, she walks the runway, but this is her life. and she shows us how we can do it, how moms can do it too, how dads can do it too, how kids can do it too. So she has all that experience, and so this is who I was blessed to meet. And this is who we have on here on today, guys. So I want you guys, when you come into this live feed, go ahead and click that share button. Click the share button. I always tell you, it costs you nothing. I know this is Cyber Monday. I put that on today's post. You know, why don't you give your wallets a little break, your credit cards a little break, and come on in here and chat with us. Listen to what my guest has to say on today, because it's going to be very, very inspiring. She looks adorable. I mean, just gorgeous. Her crown. All I have on are my queen earrings, you know, but she's laying it out. You know?
I love those. Those are my favorite.
Thank you, thank you. So, Queen LaSonya, let's start here. I'm so excited that you're here. I just have a few questions, and it's going to propel us into talking about what you do, the things that are important to you, and really why you're here on today. You have so many achievements and so many accomplishments. Let's first talk about this title that you've just received. Within the past month? How long ago?
Yeah, I won the national title on October 31st in Bloomington, Illinois.
Okay. All right. So I was right within the past month. That's good stuff. I mean, time goes by so fast. Sometimes you have to look. And I saw when you won, when you posted everything, and was so proud of you. So proud of you. So talk about this this new national title, and then let's talk about pageantry itself, if you will.
Okay. Well, first off, the title that I just won is with the American Elegance Pageant System. They've been around for over 20. This was just their 23rd anniversary. So longevity there. What I adore most about this system is what it stands for. American Elegance. I felt that with all the hardships that I've been through, God has given me the ability to still operate and walk with grace and elegance. And I think that's so profound. And when I initially was introduced to the pageant, it was by Lauren Kelly Ransom. And she reached out and she said, LaSonya, you need to do this pageant system. And I'm like, pageant? I'm like, first of all, I'm over 40. Let's start there. And I'm plus size. I am nobody's pageant queen. But she said, you know what? Just come to the meeting. They had a meet and greet. And she said, just come and check it out and you'll see what I mean. And once I got there, I saw all these beautiful women and heard all of these amazing stories. Now, I had just not long recovered from homelessness. I lived in Las Vegas for about 7 years, and I relocated back here with my children to take care of a family member that was ill. So I ended up, unfortunately, losing my job and then subsequently losing my home, and I ended up in a shelter. I pulled myself back together. I noticed that the women in that shelter have been there for so long. Like some of them have been there 4 years. And I'm like, what on earth would have you stuck here? Like, why are these women still here? I participated in all the programs. I began to do motivational speaking. I helped lead the Bible class. And when I lived in
the homeless shelter?
At the homeless shelter, it was called Morning Star Mission. It was called Morning Star Mission in Joliet. So I was there with all of my children. Like this place literally had all of my children go and let us stay there. So I was in there and I worked to get my insurance license. And they had programs where you were able to get work clothes. Now I had all of my things, but they were in storage. So I didn't even have access to a lot of my things. I had just a few things. I said, you know what? Well, let me take advantage of this. So I went and I got business wear through the shelter and continued to go out and pursue my insurance, my career in insurance. And I pulled myself out of there and I thought, I remembered my moms could do it too. I started in Las Vegas just as a way to help women with their resumes. I was in management, so there were so many times I was on a panel where young women had no idea that one small thing, maybe wearing bright red lipstick or blue jeans or making like just one small statement will cause them not to, get the job. And that was heartbreaking. I'm like, oh my God, if I could have told this young lady what to do. A lot of times after the interviews, I would reach out to the young women and say, hey, look, I know you weren't hired here, but let me help you in your next career search. So I referred back to Moms Could Do It Too, which was originally Moms Could Do It TOO. Unfortunately, I lost my domain and I was devastated because I didn't have the money to pay for it. A young lady had taken it over. I emailed her, I messaged her, I offered her all sorts of money. She's like, no, I'm keeping it. I want this. And so I shut down for a few years. But when I went and lived in that shelter and experienced that, God sparked that fire back in me to say, you know what? Moms Can Do It Too needs to be revived. Originally, I came up with it. I was at James Malinchak. He's known as the Big Millionaire Money Speaker. And my brother had gifted me a ticket there. And that's where Moms Could Do It TOO was originated. And I referred back. I said, you know what? I got to do this. And then I thought, single moms do the jobs of two parents. So I can do Moms Could Do It Too. So it's still my organization. So it was sparked again. And I met Lauren. And once I met those women and heard their stories of triumph, they shared, some of them overcome cancer, different life obstacles. And I said, you know what? Okay, maybe I can do this, just maybe. So I competed for the first time and I won the state title, Miss Illinois American Elegance Lady. And I went on to nationals. I didn't win the national title, but I was elated that I had won a state title. But I can't tell you how it changed my life. The connections I made, the women and people that I met in pageantry are just amazing. It's a whole nother world, to be honest with you. So I competed in 2017 for the first time. I went back in 2019. Fortunately, I won a state title again, but I didn't win the national title. I will tell you that right before, this is something I would like to share, right before I went into my interview at the pageant at nationals, I got a call from my cousin and she told me my aunt had just passed away from cancer. And I was just like destroyed. I had, Lauren was actually there with me and I said, I can't continue. I'm just devastated. My uncle had just passed 2 weeks before. So I was like, this is just not it. When my uncle passed, I said, you know what, I'm not going to go through with nationals. I had told my director, I'm just going to bow out. I'll come back next year. But I said, you know what, LaSonya, you're not a quitter. Just push, just get to the finish line. Get to the finish line. So that happened. I came in first runner up again, although I was disappointed, but I just knew that, you have to go back and look at yourself and search your heart and say, you know what, I know that there were things that I could have did better. It was a very hard time for me, but I'm not a quitter. And I said, you know what, I love this system. American Elegance is indicative of who I am as a mother, as a woman, and a person. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go back one more time. Third time's a charm. I got a new coach. Her name is Delpha Clark Samuels out in Florida. She has an organization called Queen's Academy. And she said, and not to mention she's a pastor. So that was really, really huge for me because I'm a woman of God. I'm spiritual. And I said, you know what, that piece was kind of not, I had an amazing coach before, but that piece was missing. There were times when my faith was shaken and my pastor coach Delpha was like, LaSonya, listen, this is your year. This is your time. That crown is yours. I went through adversity with, my children, as always, something, always comes up. I had just recovered from my son being incarcerated for 2 years. And that took a great deal out of me because I know you guys probably saw, but I was out there protesting. I was on the news. I was writing emails. I was begging to save my son's life. And for a moment, he was released in March. But for a moment, I said, LaSonya, is this the right time? Maybe you should just back out and just regroup and focus. But I said, you know what? God has always given me the ability to multitask and to handle multiple things. And I said, you know what? This will be something to show women that you can push through almost anything. And this was something that I wanted. I wanted it for myself and I wanted it for my children. I wanted them to see that, no matter what comes upon you in life, you can still push through and succeed in something that you desire. And the biggest thing was to inspire. Like, pageantry has shown me that what you do, it's not about how you look on the outside, it's the inside out. And that's where pageantry changed my life. So I've recruited about 5 women to pageantry so far, and it's life-changing. It's motivating. It builds your self-esteem. And I always thought I was a little cute, but I was like, I'm okay. I'll do okay for a last-minute prom date. But when entering pageantry and networking and meeting different people, God pulled out my inner beauty and my strength, and I want to share that with women. So that's really what pageantry did for me, and the support. So I came back this 3rd time, and I don't know if you guys saw the video, but I did the ugly cry and everything, because I was just like, wow, is this the real? Did I really do it? And I'm proud of it. I won that, and then I won 2nd runner-up in the cover model competition portion of it. But pageantry is it's not, oh, that you just look pretty, you wear a gown. You have to work. You have to do community service. You have to show that you're a leader. You have to show that you are a person of high integrity. So it's not just, oh, it's all about the glitz and glam. No. And that's what American Elegance, their platform is domestic violence and breast cancer. That's where the colors are purple and pink. So that's something near and dear to my heart. I recently, I think last year, I shared for the first time that I was a victim of domestic violence. I hid it because I was embarrassed. I didn't even tell my job that I was sneaking going to court so that my abuser could be prosecuted. I would make up excuses, and through pageantry, seeing other women share their stories of survival, I said, you know what? It's time for me to share. I was blaming myself because I had met a person and he had come to my home, and I was like, oh, he's fine. But I beat myself up because I said this was my fault, but it wasn't. It wasn't. And there was no reason for me to be ashamed. So I shared that, and cancer has touched me in several ways. I've had several members pass away of cancer, different forms of cancer. So even Mother Cisco, she's the CEO of Cisco and Cisco Productions. She just passed away. She was my spiritual and pageant mother. And that was devastating right before nationals. So, but that's what American Elegance stands for. They believe in community service. They believe in empowering women, uplifting women of all shapes and sizes. So that's why they have different divisions. I'll tell you, they have the Miss, Mrs., Lady, Sophisticate, which is the division that I switched from Lady. Sophisticate kind of runs in 2 ways. It embodies sophistication and elegance, but also plus size. So I was originally in the Lady division, which is 40 and up. But I switched over to Sophisticate because my previous coach, she said, LaSonya, you represent that. And obviously that was the right category I was supposed to be in, so I won. But yeah, so I'm excited to share about the American Elegance pageant system. I'm definitely looking to recruit some young women to compete. I will share my experiences with them, share my coaches with them, but it's something that if I could share it with many women, Annette, if I could tell you to do pageantry. So look at who you are, look at your platform. You're a person that motivates, inspires, encourages, that shares information, that you improve people's quality of life. And that's what a queen does. And you serve. That's another thing. People don't understand the spirit of servitude. And that's what pageantry is about. So you would definitely embody that.
Oh, thank you for the compliment, honey. Listen, I was listening to a lot of things that you said, and I kind of got hung up on the person that initially called you to get you started into in pageantry. She obviously, it was a female, right?
Yes, Lauren Kelly Ransom.
Okay. She obviously saw that, you talked about that inner beauty. You talked about that elegance. She saw that in you. She had to have. What was your initial response to her? You were like, no, not me. I'm plus size. No, I'm not. I'm not that. But she saw something else, and I'm so glad that you took time to explain that about pageantry, because we all know we have our own thoughts about pageantry. Yeah. We're thinking, oh, it's just the glitz and the glamour. It's just them walking down with the pretty dresses. Gorgeous outfits. There's nothing else more. I can go and do that or whatever, but there is so much more to it. And thank you for explaining about what is it, American Elegance,
Yes.
and the what they're representing and what they're trying to give voice to. They're trying to give voice to breast cancer awareness and domestic violence abuse or awareness. That's needed. And if each of us can take whatever platform that we have to bring awareness, to give voice to those situations, circumstances, or others, then that's what we need to do. You know what I mean? And so, kudos, my hat off to American Elegance, my hat off to, other, pageant, I don't know what you would call them, organization or foundation.
Pageant systems, yes.
Right. That would definitely make sure that they look at those things that affect us on a daily basis, and those things that affect us affect people that sometimes they don't even really know it's affecting them.
No.
Or like you mentioned, you didn't even tell your employer that you were, going back and forth to court to make sure that your the one that was abusing you, or you were at the hands of, that they would be prosecuted. You did that. You were quiet.
I lost my job because I actually lost my job because of it, because I wasn't truthful with my whereabouts. I was ashamed to say that I had court dates. So it appeared as though I was just calling off work for, frivolous reasons, and I wasn't. So, sadly, that's a lesson learned. I would never do it again. And I would encourage women, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Share with your employer. Your employers, they typically have resources. They have counseling, therapy. They offer free sessions, all of that. I didn't take advantage of any of that because of the shame. So that's something big that I share with women now.
And I'm glad you do that, because again, you didn't feel that you had a voice. But you mentioned about how the pageantry has changed you, and it has given you a voice. There's a couple of other, now you already had Moms Can Do It, too, but then the others were developed, I'm sure, after that, right?
Yes, they
Dads
were.
Can Do It, and
mainly because of my son. Because of what my son went through with the legal system, him being a single father. Most people know, some may not, that the situation with my son going to prison originated because of his children. He was, the young lady filed false charges against him. So that's where it stemmed from, and it became systematic. He began to pick up additional charges, but it all stemmed from him trying to be a single father, even taking care of his children while homeless. So I thought of single moms, and I said, my son's a single dad. So he inspired me to start Dadscandoit2. And then Kidscandoit2. I wanted to encourage the kids that they can do anything that they want to. I wanted to encourage those children that were victims of molestation, even the circumstances from some of the things that I went through affected my children. I've shared that I had one of my sons, but now two of my sons attempt suicide because of some of the hardships that I went through. So I wanted to reach out to encourage those children, and even the mothers, to be mindful, to pay attention to your children, and, seek out therapy. A lot of us don't do that. When we say, they'll be okay. What goes on in our house goes on in our house. You'll be okay. Get over it. You got to be strong. No, get your children therapy as well as yourself. So that's something that I had to pay attention to as a mother. And even when you feel like you've done all that you can do, there's that mental health piece that we don't want to accept. Mental illness is real. It's real. So I never conceptualized that, there's mental health issues. I am also an ambassador for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And I took my training, and I learned that there are triggers. So those things, some things you have to make yourself aware. You have to get training. You have to be knowledgeable, because you can be the person that saves someone's life. I'm a single mom. I was a single mom of 7 children. There were times I can't pay attention to all of them, and like I told everyone, the one that I thought was okay, he was the one that wasn't. The quiet one that didn't have any trouble in school, that didn't make a fuss at home, he was the one that was not okay. So I share my story and, my training to have mothers just pay attention to all of them. And every now and then do a wellness check, do a temperature check on your children, and snoop. I've told you that before on the show. Snoop, it's okay.
Okay. Look, my late mother, Mary Janelle, oh, that was her forte. She was gonna snoop. You couldn't get anything, over on her. My parents were divorced when I was young. Maybe I don't even know if I was even 5 years old.
Wow.
But she had my brother and then me and my two sisters. So she had to raise us, and she, oh my goodness, she did it with an iron fist.
But look who you are today. So
and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for it. I often laugh. A couple of my girlfriends and I, we laugh because our mothers are the same. You couldn't even bring a ball in the house or something in the house, from outside or whatever. Where you get that from? I just had care back where you got it from. She knew she didn't buy it. So,
right.
that was just, it wasn't, I don't look at it as like a control. I look at it as, her, like you said, Snoop, she was watching, and who knows, I could have gotten off into any and everything,
Think about the children that have, I'm raising 6 Black sons, and some of them made some mistakes, made some poor choices. But think about those mothers that turn their head. You see your child coming in with these shoes or with this phone or with this, item, you didn't buy it. It's pricey. Where did you get that from? Where? Where'd you get it from? And just think if, many more mothers did that. When I was at the pageant this time, there's a portion called interview. So you interview for the pageant, and that's the biggest component of your scoring. And they interview you based off of your life, your platform. And so he was aware of what had happened with my son. And he said, LaSonya, raising 6 Black sons, what's been the most difficult thing for you? And I shared with him that raising, the most difficult thing was the outside influence. The outside influence. There's that saying that it says it takes a village. Well, I told him the village needs to step up because there are people that are not stepping up, even mothers. So many people know that I'm transparent. When my children are wrong, I don't take up for them. I get in their behinds. But when they're right, I fight for them. But think about, there's so many mothers that, even with these shootings and whatnot, you heard about it. Your family member may have been involved. Step up. So I would like to see, and he said, what do you think as far as Chicago, is it doom and gloom? Are they destined to just go to ruin? I said, no, I don't feel like that, because I know that there's mothers out there like me. And I will continue to spread the word to encourage not only mothers, but fathers, single parents to be involved, reach out for help. I just had trouble with one of my sons recently, and people think, oh, everything's going to be fine. Situations come up, and you always have, for one thing, you have to keep, your relationship with God. You have to stay in prayer and keep reaching out for help. I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect mother, but I have the desire to make sure that my children don't contribute to the downfall of society. And if a lot of other mothers did that, I think we would be better off. So that's my thing. My call to action is to the mothers, because we are the biggest influences, and a lot of things start at home. So.
Ooh, you said a whole word right there. And, as you were talking, I was thinking about, I've been noticing, I've been praying too. On the news, I've been noticing a lot, and I'm sure you guys have seen it too. These robberies of these stores, these, what do they call them? It's almost like a gang of them.
Yeah.
That will go in and rob these high-end stores, in Chicago and different and other places too. And it's like, it's organized. They've organized, and all I see is just a bunch of young kids running in there, just grabbing stuff and thieving and robbing. And I'm like, oh my God. And so you mentioned something about how mothers need to keep an eye out on what the kids are bringing into their homes. Yeah. Because I'm thinking to myself, okay, you all are stealing all these products and everything. Where are you taking them? Who are you going to give them to? Is somebody going to think, where did you get this from? Or are they just going to accept it? So, oh, thank you, whatever. I'm sure it's getting worse and worse because of the holidays coming up and people wanting to give gifts or have gifts or whatever, whatever. But yeah, it's something we all going to have to. Where is the village? We're all going to have to jump in.
Yeah, like I had one of my sons. He came with the iPhone. iPhones are in excess of $300, $400, $500. Where did you get that?
Thank you.
Give it to me. And I worked in the cell phone industry for years. Let me see whose phone this is,
Right.
And I had to tell my children, I want you to think about that mother. What if the person that you may have harmed or took something from, what if it was me? Would you want someone hurting your mother? Would you want someone causing your mother to lose her job, taking her vehicle, taking her personal belongings? So I think we press upon their hearts and reach out to them that way and say, think about your family. My mother used to say, when I was little, I never understood it until I got older. She used to say, oh, but for the grace of God, there go I. I used to be like, what? But for the grace of God, there go I. That could be you, even with my story as far as my homelessness. I remember just as clear as day when I was in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Rescue Mission. Me and my children were volunteering, and there was a beautiful woman with 6 children. When I tell you she had a light around her, and I was like, wow. And she came up, and me and my children served her and every one of her children. The children were well-groomed. They were so polite. They thanked us. They were so grateful. And I was like, Lord, how did she end up here? What happened to her? And true enough, I come to Chicago and I became that mother. And I reflected back, I remembered her. But I do thank God that the biggest thing that I can share with people is that don't judge a book by its cover. I've posted pictures of that and said, can you identify in any of these pictures which time I was homeless? You can't. Mm-hmm. You can't.
I sure could when I first met you. No, I could not.
No, I mean physically at I would still go and be at events, and even after I did pageantry, I became homeless again because of situations. Many people don't know. So I would say, look at that picture. Can you look at any one of those pictures and identify when I was homeless? I had to reflect back and say, that was a time. So I thank God for his grace, his mercy, him being able to sustain me. And I think sometimes I get a little frustrated. You've even experienced me say, Annette, I don't understand. I don't need any more testimonies. Lord, you have given me testimonies from here to doomsday. No more, enough. And I would say, okay, I'm like, when do I get a break? And I had to say, you know what? One of my children said, why does bad stuff always happen to us, Mom? And I said, you know what? I can't put my finger on that, but I do know that he always brings us out. So what I do, and I tell people this, is to go back and play, just press rewind. And that's what keeps me going forward, Annette. When I have a bad situation happen, I reflect back, I go back in my memory bank and think about the last situation that I thought was horrid. I thought I wouldn't survive. I thought I wasn't going to make it. I thought this is the worst thing ever. And God brought me out. So I said, if he did that, he'll continue to, and, maybe he chose me for it. I accepted it. It's okay. I'll be like, ease up now, God. But I thank God that I can stand before people and say, hey, yeah, I've been through this, but I still have a heart to give. I still love God. I still love people, and I'm not bitter, and I think that's huge. And that's what I want to convey to people. Still remain humble, stay true to who you are, and know that it'll get greater later.
Yeah, I love it. I love your attitude about it too. I really do. And it's very encouraging because we all face so much during this life. And, your journey, I always tell people, that might have to become one of my mantras. Your journey is not just for you. It's not just for you. Let me do this. And I don't think that I took time out to really recognize many of you that are on here on Facebook, on Instagram. I see you, Beatrice. I see you, Brandy and Skill Brown. Is that right? All right. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. Janice is on, and Marcus. Let's see. They're saying good afternoon. They're telling you congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
Trina, my niece, are you still watching? Hey, niece. Thanks for coming in. Elder McGee says greetings and congratulations to the Queen.
Thank you. God bless you.
Anita, thank you for watching. Delpha, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
That's my coach. That's my coach, Delpha, in Florida.
Hey, Delpha, thank you. We appreciate you, Delpha. Thank you. Brandy, I appreciate you tagging individuals. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Elise Crawford is on. Thank you. Oh, Brandy, that's such a sweet comment. Thank you, honey.
Brandy.
Let's
Hey,
see.
Brandy.
Oh, Delpha said your story is so powerful. Martise, did I pronounce that right? Martise Johnson, thank you for watching. We appreciate it.
That's the executive director of the American Elegance Pageant, Maltese Johnson.
Wonderful.
Maltese Jones?
Martise Johnson, is that?
Oh, that's my friend. Okay, yeah, no, that's my friend.
Oh,
Hey,
okay. All right. Well, we appreciate you. Thanks for coming in. Delpha said this will bless so many, and I totally agree with that.
Thank you.
Kay Bernard Geddes is on.
Hi.
Thank you. Joyce Williams, thank you. Appreciate you. But yeah, I mean, you've been really, what you've been talking about today has been very inspiring thus far. Now, if you guys are just now joining us, I'm talking with beautiful Queen LaSonya Alexander, and let me get her title right. She is Miss American Elegance Sophisticate 2021-2022. All right, you guys got that. This is why she has the crown on. So if you just now joining, it's like, what is she doing? What is she doing?
Right.
So we're talking today because I wanted her to come on, and she and I were talking after she won. She has so much, and Delpha, you said it best. She has so much to offer to so many. Her story is of course, not just her own, but it's very inspirational, and many can learn from it. You can glean from it, because when you go through, and I want to segue into this next portion here, when you go through trials and tests. You already heard her say she's a mom of 7. I love when she puts on Facebook the 6 sons of Sonia. And if you all don't know what I'm talking about, she picked it up from the word, the word of God. But she has a beautiful daughter, and I think, how do you pronounce your daughter's name?
Hilashe.
Hilashe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's my firstborn, Keenan, LaSonya, and my ex-husband Shay. She has all of our names combined. Hilashe.
Oh, well, how beautiful and how appropriate. She's the only girl.
Yes.
Love it. I think I saw her name on, I don't know if she shared or anything, but again, if you guys haven't shared yet, click that share button. It's down at the bottom. I promise you, it's not going to cost you anything. We already talked about it being Cyber Monday, but it's not going to cost you anything to click that share button. That way you'll push this live feed out, and others will get to hear and listen to Queen LaSonya on today. And we don't want them to miss anything. And you that are on here on Instagram as well, if you can go ahead and share it, tag individuals into it, you can do that as well. I had on here talking about your hardships that you've experienced. And, sometimes, I look at your posts, my heart just really, really, really goes out to you. And then, I call her my little sis, guys. I know she's a queen. I know she's, won her title, but I call her my little sis. And she has gone through quite a bit. She's gone through quite a bit with her children personally, and her family, health-wise. When you look at that, when you look at experiencing hardships, and I know you said that the pageant or pageantry has helped you, what would you say to individuals? Because it's not like we're not going to go through anything in life, because we are. And you just mentioned about how your children said, why do it seem like we're always going through things? Mm-hmm. What would you say to somebody else that's outside of your family that they're probably feeling they're going through so much and they're dealing with so much? Why me? Or why do I have to deal with this? Or how do I deal with this? What would be your response?
My biggest thing is to have a spiritual foundation. I thank God. My mother is a minister, Pastor J.C. Evie Jackson of Ash Trinity House of Power. I had a praying mother, and that's one thing that she instilled in me. I tell mothers, and I don't push any type of specific religion on anyone, but the greatest thing my mother used to say that you can give your children is Jesus. And I will tell you that is what sustained me, even when my children have gone through, because you can't always be with your children. You can't always be there for the ones that you love. But if you've instilled a strong faith base in them, and if they know how to pray and trust God and know, like I said, that it'll get greater later, that's the biggest thing. So, and reflecting back, because I know you've gone through something in the past that you didn't think that you would survive. You didn't think you would be able to move forward, and you did. like I said, I don't push any particular religion on someone. Even if you want to just think about yourself and the strength and resilience that you had in that moment, in that particular time, reflect back, press rewind, and know that you can go forward, know that you can survive, know that you can overcome. That's the biggest thing. But my thing, I'm a woman of faith. I am a woman of faith. If I didn't have the faith and the spiritual foundation of people around me, because there are times when I've been too weak to pray for myself. So you have to have the right people around you, supporting you, encouraging you. And that's why I try to be that person, because I have people like that for myself.
I love it. And another thing that I notice and have noticed that you do, you mentioned that, you have a strong faith, but another thing I noticed is that you're transparent. You will hop on Facebook in a minute. Look, I'm going through this thing. I need y'all to uphold me. I need y'all to pray.
Please.
You're not. And I think you probably learned. Let's go back to talking about that job that you had when you were dealing with the domestic violence. You were quiet then.
Yeah.
You didn't have your voice. You didn't use your voice.
No.
But you have it now. You look, y'all, I'm going through table.
Help, pray. The Bible says 2 or more come together. Like, come on, somebody touch and agree with me. And I know that prayer works. I know it does. I'm not big on scriptures because I'm not a minister or anything like that, but the prayers of the righteous, I'm telling you, I know when I call on those particular people, some things shake and move. So, and I know that Facebook, I had a family member that said, oh, you share too much. You run the Facebook. And I said, hey, there are times that I've ran the Facebook and it has actually saved one of my children's lives. Seriously. I remember the time when my daughter was, hurt by the police and they took her. She was gone. She was kidnapped. And because I put it on Facebook, people moved to action immediately. People even came to the hospital and helped me. So I'm an open book. There are some things I do suffer in silence sometimes, and it will get the best of me. But for the most part, I believe in being transparent, because I've had people come up and tell me, LaSonya, you telling me about your son. I went home and found out that my son was contemplating suicide the next day. My best friend, I shared with her about my son, and she wrote a book and found out that her son was being cyberbullied. And she actually did a movie. And she gave me credit for that. So you never know, your story can help someone else. So I've learned that, sharing is okay. Sometimes you don't want to overshare, but sharing is okay. I've done it and I don't regret it. I thank God that he's given me the courage to speak up. They say a closed mouth don't get fed, but think about the situation with my son. I reached out to Facebook. They rallied around me. I'm still blown away by it. I mean, I raised the money for the attorney. My son would have still been in prison looking at probably 8-9 years had I not at least gotten him an attorney through my social media platform, my family and my friends. So,
Right.
Yeah, I'm grateful.
Yeah. And we were all right there with you, honey. I'm telling you. We were right there with you. You took us down there when it was time for him to be released. It was like we were all right there, in social media.
And I felt like I needed to be transparent. I felt like, it wasn't that I owed you. Well, I did. I felt like I owed it to the people to see, if I can share and ask for help, I think you should be transparent and let them know, hey, this is where my support went. This is where my prayers went. This is the effect of my prayers. This is where my funds went. And I think that that's why when I do ask for help, even when I do my fundraisers for single moms, they know that I'm a woman of integrity, and they know that they're going to, see, and I'm going to be totally open about, everything that's going on. So, but I thank God my son is out released right now today because of all of my Facebook family and friends. It wouldn't have happened without you guys.
Right. Yeah. We were his mom and dad too.
Yeah.
We were his
uncle, auntie, sisters.
Yeah, we were all related. We were all related. But your compassion. Let me back up and talk about that, because you have so much compassion for people in general. You go back to you talking about when you were working in management and individuals will come in for jobs and maybe they didn't get the job because of something they either wore or said or something. You took it upon yourself, which it didn't sound like to me that this was your responsibility, after they had the interview, hey,
Mhm.
you know what, let me help you out with this. And just in case you have another interview or something like that. That's compassion. And I believe God has given that to you. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. There are so many who are benefiting from your compassion, LaSonya. They are. And so when you reach out and ask for help or prayer, we don't mind doing it. You've been so compassionate, you know what I'm saying, to others and willing and desiring to help them, that it's like, okay, yeah, this girl. Now, if you have, I know how we are. We are some people like, we're just kind of like, I don't want to just I don't want to just say bad names, but they're not doing right. And then they come and ask you for help. And then you're like, you ain't even doing right. How can I help you? But that's not you. This is what we're focusing in on today, guys. We're talking about her experience in the pageant world, but also how to deal with hardships, how to overcome. We want to go into, Joyce Williams, I see you, and I meant to call your name, so thank you so much for coming in. Joe McCord is on. He's saying congratulations as well. Can we chit chat a little bit about your children? Your children are your heart. I know they are. They are your joy. And you hurt when they hurt. You feel joy and peace when they do as well. I can't remember if maybe it was the first time I had you on, second time, you talked about your one son at that time who had experienced or tried to commit suicide. Can we talk about that experience a little bit and how, because you already started mentioning about how different ones had come to you, and thanked you for sharing, as you've gone, throughout your life, about how they were able to notice things about their son. Maybe just talk a little bit about that. And I think you mentioned in this session that you had another son that was experiencing the same thing. So chat with us about that, because these are hardships, guys, that we're discussing and how to overcome them. You can go ahead.
The biggest thing that I want people to know, I reflect back to the day that my son, the first son I mentioned, attempted suicide. And what I need people to resonate on the most is that before I left for work that day, my son came to me and hugged me, gave me a kiss. He said, "I love you, Mom," which he's not really the mushy cushy. I'm a really mushy mom. And this particular child was not, he was just, not disrespectful, but he wasn't the kissy mushy up in your face all the time.
Okay, guys, we're going to wait for her to come back in. I don't know if she had a issue with maybe power or something, but this is good stuff. You guys, if you're on here, you're joining me, please make sure that you click the share button. Hey, Renee, I see you on here on Instagram. Thanks for joining us. But if you have any questions for LaSonya as we're getting her to come back in, throw those into the comment section. Again, many of us go through different things, whether it is with our children, with our parents, with our loved ones, and it can be overwhelming. We have seen, even on this past, I guess it's almost going on 2 years now, dealing with this COVID, how situations seem so overwhelming to us. And we may not know exactly what to do. How do you deal with hardships? How do you come out of it? This radio show and also my podcast, I always want to see if I can help someone to overcome. You're not in this alone. This is what my guest is also sharing with us. She's coming back in, but you're not alone in dealing with whatever it is you're dealing with. We've all gone through situations and circumstances that, again, may seem overwhelming. but sometimes we may not know exactly how to handle it or how to get through it. So again, we're chatting about hardships on today and how to overcome them with Queen LaSonya as she's getting ready. She's coming back in. Honey, we know we understand about technology. Don't we all understand that, and so it's okay. But she is back. And she was chatting with us. I had asked her a question about talking about her sons that felt that they didn't want to live any longer and they were trying to commit suicide. So if you can continue on with that story, I believe you mentioned about when you woke up that morning and how he was acting.
So when I woke up that particular morning, what was so, I think, strange for me was how he engaged me before I went to work. He kissed me on the cheek and he said, I
think you're muted. Okay.
He said, Mom, he kissed me on the cheek. He said, Mom, I love you. And he said, oh, 1 second.
Okay. All right, guys. This is good stuff. And it's also going to help us to recognize, unfortunately, if we have some who are dealing with suicidal thoughts, whether it is our children or somebody else that we know about. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
One of the grandbabies tripped up there.
Okay.
So he said, today is going to be a beautiful day. That was the last thing that my son said to me. And I was like, wow. I said, okay, son, that's great. Wonderful. It didn't, it was a little odd for him to come and kiss me, but I was like, it's going to be a great day. Okay. And I went to work and I received a text message from my brother. One thing that I don't do is I don't share the details. You learn in training. Yes. You don't share how they attempted. You don't share the actual details or act because it could be triggers for someone else. So he texted me and the text was horrifying. I was mortified. I was all the way in Elmwood at work and I literally almost crashed racing home. I even got pulled over by a state trooper, and with the text that I received, it was misconstrued. It didn't specify that he had made it. It just stated what he had did. So in my mind, I'm thinking my child is gone. He's gone. So it was the worst. And it was almost an hour drive. It was the worst experience ever. So when I got there, luckily my entire family was there surrounding my child. And when I opened the door, I saw him then. I just fell to my knees like, he's still here. He's still here. And I reached out to my job for assistance. My mom and dad are pastors. They were there for spiritual support. And we worked through it. But what bothered me was the peace that he had that day. And I learned that there's a chemical that's released when people make the decision to take their lives. There's a peace that overcomes there. There's a feeling of completion. There's a feeling of, I'm going to be okay. And that's not okay. People do things for different reasons. Some people are hurting and they take their lives because they want to hurt someone that hurt them. Some people do it because they feel they have nothing else to live for. And then there's mental illness where they can't control their thoughts and can't control their actions. So what I learned with that experience was the one that you think is okay may be the very one that's not okay. And as I began to share my story, mothers came back and would email me and message me and say, LaSonya, thank God I heard you, because I talked to my child and not only found out that they may have been contemplating it, but may have even attempted previously. So that's when I said, you know what? This is not for me. It was meant for me to go through this, unfortunately, but to share my story, to save other lives. And if I can save one life, if I can reach one mother that may not know that her child is hurting or may need help, then I've done my job. I've done my job. So I don't share which child that was. In his due time, when he feels the courage and feels comfortable to share, I will let him share who he is and which particular son it is. But I will share that Keenan shared that he attempted suicide. We recently, maybe 2 months ago, I went to the Out of the Darkness walk. I participate in this yearly for my son, and Keenan shared that he attempted suicide, and he called me that morning. He said, "Mom,"
Take your time.
he said, "Mom, I want to walk today. I want to walk with you, and I want to walk for my brother, and I want to walk for myself." And I was just blown away, and I was so proud of him. And he said, "Mom, I'm going to share my story. I'm going to, let people know." And there's a wall that's called the Why I Walk wall. And you go up and you write, of course, to show that you were there, but you write and indicate who you're walking for, why you're walking. And Keena went and wrote on the wall, and he doesn't really share. I will tell you guys that Keenan is actually the one that saved his brother's life. I need to share that part of it. While I was at work, thank God Keenan was there, and he saved his brother as he was taking his last breaths. So I didn't realize that affected Keenan as well, but he's a hero. And on that day, he shared, what he had gone through, and he wrote on the wall, "I walk for my brother." And he had thoughts before, and he said, "When I saved you that day, that let me know God gave me my purpose." And his purpose was to, be here to motivate and inspire. And he saved his brother's life. And now he's working to save his life. Keenan, was released from prison in March, and he's been having some challenges, but he's, working towards becoming who he was destined to be. He was on a wonderful path. He was in college, taking care of his 2 children as a single father. And this happened unfairly. He was beaten by the police twice. He was beaten by police in Georgia and beaten by police here in Illinois. But I think that what I'm most proud of is that he's like his mother. He's not bitter. He's not angry. And he's still trying. He's still pushing to be a good human. He's made some mistakes along the way. We all do. We all fall down, but he's pushing to get back up. And I will ask all of you guys to keep him in prayer, to keep him uplifted. Trauma is something else, and a lot of us don't deal with it. We don't, especially with our Black men. We think, "Oh, they're strong, they'll be okay." Not so. So I believe that I've learned that it's not just me, but I feel like all of my children God has a special plan for their lives. All of them are strong. All of them are amazing human beings. They're all talented. And what I respect and honor, they asked me when I was at the pageant who my heroes were. And I said, my heroes are my children, because in spite of all that they've gone through, they're still working to be good human beings. They're not bitter children. They're not, they're just not bad people. They've made some mistakes, but they're still good people. My children, I know you guys you see me out doing community service, you'll see my kids right there. And I love that about them. And I think that that's something for me to be proud of as a mother. And I think that I lead by example, and my children are following suit. So be that person, that gets your children help when they need it. Don't sweep things under the rug. Don't think that it'll just fall by the wayside, because it won't. Those things linger. And I thank God every day that my children were spared. And I know they were spared for a reason.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, they surely were. And, even going back to what you mentioned about what one of your children said, why do we go through so much like this? There's a reason for it. And, whether the Lord is taking them through different things to get them ready. You just said it yourself, that you believe that they're, working towards where God wants them. I mean, I paraphrase that, want them to be in whatever position he wants them to be in. So sometimes we have to go through that tunnel before we can get, come out to that light. But yeah, well, thank you for sharing that. I know, and I'm grateful that you mentioned about that there are some things, you know, when you talk about that situation, you can't say everything, because there may be triggers or what have you. But, you know, there's a certain way to handle it. There's a certain way to talk about it. You don't want it to be a trigger for them or for anybody else.
Right.
You know, but you still can talk about it in a way that'll still bring that awareness to let them know you're not alone. You don't have to do this. There are people that are here for you. You mentioned about your parents who was obviously giving him that spiritual therapy or help that he needed. Would you suggest to individuals to maybe get like professional therapy?
I recommend both. I mean, like I said, I have a strong faith base. I definitely recommend both. You know, there's this cliche where people say, "Oh, you just pray about it." No, I'm not that mother. I'm not that person. You know, God will bring you out of a lot of things, but in my experience, me getting my son professional help, that definitely saved him, and it taught me I needed to learn. During therapy, I'll share a little piece. The therapist had my son write a letter. And he said, in that letter, nothing that you write, you will be held accountable for. You know, he told me and my husband at the time, you guys can't get upset about anything that he says. He has to just write and share everything that he feels. And I thank God for that. Had I not gone to that session, he may not have, you know, shared. I may not have learned. I learned how to pay attention to his triggers and try to avoid them at all costs. I learned how not to let him be around particular things. Some things fed his mind. And even with some situations that I may go through, there's things that parents sometimes don't let children know everything. They don't, because they can't handle it. They can't handle it. So, you know, I learned to shelter him from as much as I can. You know, we can't protect him from everything in the world, but there are things that we can't control. But definitely professional help is absolutely necessary. Even for myself, for a long time, I was so strong and set on my faith, like, no, I do not need to see a professional. No, yes, I did. And it helps. And I'm getting ready to start back up myself because, you know, people say, oh, you're strong. And I let that permeate my spirit. But then there are times when I need support. I need to get some guidance. I need some support. I need some advice. So I definitely will recommend professional therapy to everyone.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm an advocate of that. And, you know, some people who are religious, sometimes they're like, I don't know if I want to go that route, but there are professional counselors and therapists who are Christians, you know, so one thing you can know about them is that they're definitely going to bring both of those worlds in together.
Yes.
You know, so that would be a plus and a help, but let's not, you know, look at therapy or counseling as something that is going to hurt or harm you. Trust me, it's going to help, because when you go into those sessions, they're going to have you peeling back all kind of layers you know are there. You're like, oh, okay. You know, but it's for your good and it's for the better, because again, we want to be able to voice what we're going through and talk about it. I think a lot of times, and it's just me thinking, that if we can just talk about it, sometimes that can help more than anything to help you get through situations or circumstances or things that you're facing in your life. Just being able to talk about it, you know, that's what this platform is for, you know, individuals to be able to either come on and talk about it, or if you are looking and listening to us, you know, maybe you talk about it right now, you know, whatever, you need to be able to get things off your chest. Now, sometimes it may go a little bit deeper. You may need to have like serious therapy sessions or
medication. Some people need medication.
I was just getting ready to say, going over to the psychiatry area. Sometimes you may need medication. So, you know, and it's okay. And no, we are in no way saying that Don't pray about it. We're not saying that at all, but I do believe that God has individuals in place, in position, just as a medical doctor. You know, the first sign of something, you run into the doctor. You know, it's the first sign of something physical that's gone wrong. You're gonna go to the doctor. You're gonna call up your doctor. You're gonna do, you know, one of those teledoc sessions or whatever you call it. You know, because this is hurting, or that's hurting, or that don't feel good. You know, so we should take the same care with our mental state. We really have to. We have to. And I'm so glad, and I can say this, that as you look even in entertainment or sports industry, different players or musicians or what have you, people are becoming more and more comfortable with sharing whether or not they're going through some, or maybe they're going through depression or something like that. They're more comfortable in opening up more and more about it. You've noticed that, haven't you?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the more people
wait, you're kind of broke up a little bit. I'm sorry. What did you say? I'm not sure if her audio is breaking up on us, but yeah, I am seeing that more and more, guys, and you that are watching us are probably seeing that as well. And I get encouraged by that. I really do. To see, the people are becoming, more transparent and not hiding behind whatever it is they're dealing with. Because see, when you hide behind it, you don't get help. I always see the quickest way, I always say the quickest way to get help is to admit that you need it. And so when you're able to voice it, when you're able to talk about it, that's your first step right there. But you were saying something when your audio kind of went out a little bit on us.
Oh, no, I was just saying, just knowing that someone else went through what you may have gone through, people know that they're not alone. They, sometimes people feel, am I the only target? Am I the only one on this earth that's going through this? And when you hear or see that someone else has gone through and they overcame it, that's encouraging all in of itself.
Yeah, definitely. Let me look here on Facebook, making sure. Delpha said very true. Let's see. Brandy said, my heroes are my children. She said, I felt that when you said that. That was your response to their when you're in the pageant. Let me do this. Let me ask you, kind of take us through before we even talk about, because I want to get to your organizations, but take me through real quick. You mentioned about when you're doing the pageantry that they make you work.
Oh, yes.
Kind of take me through maybe even this last one that you won. How does that work? Do they ask you a number of questions? I mean, we see stuff on, TV, the big Miss America pageant or whatever, but kind of take us behind the scenes a little bit and maybe tell us a little bit about that, and then maybe segue and talk a little bit more about your organizations.
So the biggest thing, like I said, the biggest component of the pageant competition, the biggest thing about the pageant competition is the interview. Okay. So as I shared, when you interview, you're like interviewing for a job. This is the job of your lifetime. Being a pageant queen is actually a job. Now, it's not a paid job. There's tons of prizes and things like that, but the reward is gaining the national title and the ability to reach people on a larger platform. So in interview, they ask you several questions. Interview is usually probably about, interview is probably about 50% of your scoring, maybe 40, 50%.
Okay.
Before the pageant, you have to send in a bio sheet. So on that bio sheet, they ask you multiple questions, such as, what would you do if you win the title? Share what your organization is about. Tell a little bit about yourself. What type of music you like, just different things like that. So they can kind of get an idea of who you are as a person or what you may have, accomplished for you to share. So after that, during the interview, they ask you questions based off of your bio sheet. Now they may ask some, random questions or something, but the basis of it is off of your bio sheet that you submitted. So they'll ask you questions about like your platform, things like that. So, and you have to be clear not to fudge things because they do their research. So the panel of judges are selected way before the pageant begins. So they have the opportunity to watch you. They have the opportunity to go on your page to see what you're about. So if you say that you've done something that you didn't do, they're going to know about it, you know, and that's where that integrity comes in. So if you said you worked with a particular organization, or if you hosted a particular event and they don't see that, then they'll say, you know, this person hasn't been transparent. So most of my questions were based off of my organization, Moms Can Do It Too. Of course, my family, they asked about my family and my children, because everyone knows that's my foundation. That's who I live and breathe for, my children and my grandchildren. So they ask questions like that.
All right.
Afterward, another piece is personal expression. Personal expression can be anything that's showing your creativity, showing your personality. So for me, I chose my organization. I did a speech surrounding Moms Can Do It Too. I'll show you guys here. As I did my presentation, I had this poster board in the background. I don't know if they can see it.
Yes.
So on here, I have some of the things that I talked about during my speech. I talked about my son. I don't know if you can see here, that was me protesting at the Cook County Jail. This is me modeling. This is me speaking at a high school to young mothers. This is me donating things to single moms. So I wanted to, and here, that's where I did the Out of the Darkness walk recently. This was me. This is my favorite picture of all. This is when I first began pageantry. I was with a friend of mine, Chinita Holloman, and we did hot dogs and prayer in the park. And we had random people come up and we prayed for them. And they were like, we want the queen to pray for us. We want the queen. And that little boy came up and he said, can you pray for me? He said, all I have is a dime. He said, but I would like for you to pray for me and my mom. Our lights got cut off. I will never forget him. Never forget him. He was adorable. And I always keep him in this photo. I asked his mom if I could take the picture. She was okay with it, but I keep him there to remember that family. And he said, I only have a dime. And I gave him some money to put in his pocket, but I cannot tell you that was life-changing for me because, as I said, but for the grace of God, there go. I remember being in those hardship moments. I remember, struggling and things like that. So that was one of my favorite, we call them appearances. You have to do appearances when you're a pageant queen. So after you win the title, you are required to submit and show them what you're doing. So you want to show that you're representing the organization and you want to show that you're impacting people's lives. So that's what I love most about it. It's not, you win the title, take your pictures and go home. No, I have an actual liaison, a director, Wilma Terry Mason. She's been assigned to me and two other queens. We have to submit monthly to her what we're doing, what we've accomplished, who we impacted. So I love that. It keeps you on your toes and it keeps you true to what the pageant is about. So yeah.
Love it. So that's that accountability portion when you got
absolutely
turn or tell her what all you're doing. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that was touching, talking about the young man. So you said that was your first pageant?
That was the first time I competed, and that was my first one of my first appearances and my favorite, going out in the street doing hot dogs and prayer. And so what the young lady Chinita did, I began cooking for her at first. That's how I met her. She had a post that she reached out for someone to help her cook for the homeless. And after that, her organization is called, let me see. I can't think of her right now. I introduced you to her when we first met at the event for your niece where she honored me. But she has a organization where she feeds the homeless. And that was one of the first people I connected with. And that was the first appearance where we went out. And in order for them, well, we didn't have to, but we just said, you want prayer, you want to come and eat, let us pray for you first. And that little baby pulled that dime out of his pocket. It was like, can you pray for us? And I was like, no, put your dime in your pocket. And he was adorable. It was very humbling too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, oh man, that's something. That's really, really
Mhm.
something. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. That sounds like a very good and humbling experience that you
Yes.
had.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
but it sounds like it was a blessing and that it changed your life. So I'm glad and grateful that you were able to experience that yourself.
Mhm.
I did want to ask you this real quick, and then we talk about the organization. I keep saying that,
Okay.
but real quick. So did you have, after your first pageant, did you have any doubts? Like maybe I shouldn't be doing this, or this is my last one, or anything of that nature?
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Okay.
People told me beforehand, they're like, oh, this is going to be addicting. Now and I don't want to talk about the little bad parts of pageantry, but there are people that they call them crown chasers, that people that just do it just because they want to, the limelight of having the crown and sash. But they were like, this will be addicting. Like, you will not want to ever not be connected to a sisterhood. And so when I did it, I won the state title. I was excited about that. But me, I'm so competitive. I just like to win at everything that I do. So I wanted to come back because I wanted to stay connected. And I said, I want that title. I know that I can do this. I'm not a quitter. Usually if I don't get something the first time, I'm going to keep going back. So I will mention one of the ladies that beat me the first time. That was her fourth time coming back. And I was like, fourth time, I ain't going to keep coming back. I'm not going to keep coming back. And so someone asked me like, okay, LaSonya, if you don't win this time, will you come back? And I'm like, my coach was like, there is no if. She said this. I love Delpha so much. My pastor, Coach Delpha Samuel, she was like, LaSonya, I don't want to hear nothing else. This is your crown this year. This is your time. And honestly, after COVID, I was like, do you need to just sit down and sit this one out? Do you need to sit this one out? And I said, you know what? No, I've come too far. And I know that God had me survive, because there were people that didn't survive. I even lost family members. And at first I was questioning myself like, okay, pageantry, do you need to realign your priorities? Is this something that you need to focus on right now? But I said, no, I've come too far from where I started from. I'm going to finish this out. I'm going to go on through, and with the encouragement, because I tell you, there are moments of self-doubt, but having a coach and that's a pastor, a praying pastor, and the faith, if my faith got shook for 1 second, she's like, I don't want to hear it. This is your, I will tell you, even at the last moment while I was at the pageant, you go back and forth talking to your coach and whatnot. And I was like, I'm getting a little nervous. She's like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And you know what she did? She's probably going to fuss it, but I have to share. Her husband even told me when I just recently went to Florida, he said, my wife went, when you were getting ready to go through the last phase of it and head to crowning, he said, my wife went to the altar. So she was at church, got up there and was praying. So, that's why I tell you, the prayers of the righteous, she was not playing about me. And she told me over and over again, LaSonya, you survived too much. You went through too much, even going up to. I lost 2 family members 2 weeks before, right before nationals. And I'm just like, this is not happening again. This can't be real. Okay, LaSonya, just forget it. Just sit down and just focus on other things. But I said, you know what? Why should I give this up? This is something that I work for, and it will truly show that you can put your heart to something and God will carry you and see it all the way through. So that's what happened, and I won. So
yeah. I almost remember that song. I had a praying grandmother. Well, you had a praying a coach.
yes.
I love it. Thank you, Delpha. We appreciate
Thank you,
you. I know
Delpha.
you're still on here now, but she was serious about that.
Get you a Delpha. I'm telling you, you want a life coach, a minister, a praying coach, a pageant coach, Delpha. Get her. I'm not kidding.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Moms can do it too. What was next? Was it dads can do it too, and then kids can do it too?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Talk to us about those.
So of course, moms can do it too is based off of the single moms. But what I realized, I am a person I hate to leave anybody out. So I felt like especially after my son experienced all that he experienced. LaSonya, what about the fathers? And I had a friend, he's the best friend of mine, and he ended up being a single father as well. He was like, LaSonya, what about us? And I was like, you know what? What about you guys? You know, I'm hosting these events and people would donate things and then they would give me things for men too. And I'm like, oh, what do I do with all this stuff? And I'm like, there's a need for men and fathers too. And then after seeing my son go through all the struggles that he went through and talking to my best friend and realizing there are a lot of single fathers out there and people don't support them because they feel like, oh, that's a man. He's got to get it on his own. He doesn't need our help. He doesn't deserve our help. A lot of people feel like a man should not ask for help. Well, if they're a single parent, there is a loss of a second income. There's a single income. They need support as well. So that's why I started Dadscandoit2. Okay. And of course, piggybacking off of that, I thought about, you know, I began to sow into my children with all the hardships, trying to focus on, because all of my children are talented. They're all musically inclined to have artists, singers, dancers, rappers, the whole 9 yards. And years ago, when I was in Vegas, I had a dance group for them called K-Pulse, but I kind of let it fizzle on out. But after my daughter started singing when she was like 2 years old. She was the head of the family. She taught all her brothers everything. But after my son attempted suicide, my middle child, Kevon, he calls himself True Boy the Singer. He started singing as a way as an outlet. It began to heal him. And so it just fell off onto each child. I'm like, God, you guys are, all of y'all talented. Oh my goodness. So I've had different people call us the Jackson 7, the Jackson 5. So like now all of my children are artists, but sometimes we get derailed because of some of the, you know, hardships we've experienced. Keenan, the last 2 years were very hard because Keenan was the leader of the family. I mean, essentially me being a single mother, he was his sibling's father too. So that hurt them really bad. And I said, you know what, let me do this organization to encourage the children. So that's where Kidscandoit2 came from.
Okay. So. All right. Well, that's a good thing. But, you know, I was also thinking about your grandkids. So they obviously follow underneath Kidscandoit2, unless you're going to do a grandkids can do it too.
No, that's enough. My granddaughter, Camiel, she represents Kidscandoit2. I've gotten her, she's segueing her way into pageantry. She started with Cisco and Cisco Productions, and now she will be competing in the American Elegance Princess pageant. So I'm excited about that. She went through a lot going back and forth with me, you know, with the custody with her mother and my son being gone. And I've encouraged her to be an amazing little girl, which she is. So I'm starting with her. And yeah.
I think I saw that post. I thought it was so adorable.
Yeah. She was out there protesting with me. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
I was just about to ask
the whole many signs out, free my dad. So she's a little philanthropist already.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, I mean, it can't do anything but fall onto your children and your grandchildren, because you are a serial entrepreneur, and I love it though. I love it because you want, and I'm sure that this is true, that you want to leave a legacy for your children.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you are doing just that. How do your children and your family feel about your pageantry and also these organizations?
You know, initially, I think they thought it was just like a hobby, but once they saw my passion and even the impact that it had on my life, then I got more support. This last time competing, I only had one of my sons and my granddaughter from Las Vegas there. So that was really different, you know, but because of COVID, you know, and things like that and circumstances, I usually have a big, you know, following. And I was like, I got to do this without everyone, but the support was from afar. My mother, most of all, she just told me this recently, how proud of me that she is. And that means more than anything in this world. With COVID, the last probably 2 years, even prior to my mother has some health issues, and she has not been able to be at the forefront like she typically is. even with the church, I usually host my Moms to Do It events at the church, but due to COVID, like we had to, just to protect her and my stepfather, we had to pull back. So it was a little different, but the support is still there. Let's not minimize. My mother is a prayer warrior. She has held me up on so many things, and I'm so grateful for the foundation that she gave me. Like I said, the best thing you can give your child is a spiritual foundation. So I'm grateful for that. Everyone's supportive. When I ask for help, or if they can show up, they show up. If they can't show up, they'll say, "Hey, let me send a little donation." I have my auntie Catherine Ridley. I'm collecting water for the inmates at Joliet. I'm supporting Cassandra Greer Lee, whose husband passed away of COVID in Cook County Jail at the time my son was there. So Joliet's water is completely disgustingly contaminated. They cannot drink it. So I'm collecting water to support her for the inmates. Like, they can't drink the water. So they're getting bottles of water, cases of water shipped out and brought out. So she's taking donations for that. So if any of you guys want to support her, her name is Cassandra Greer. You can go to her page, and please, if you can donate water, do that. So I have a couple of queens that have donated. So I'm still collecting, and next week I'll be taking them because they need it every week. They're getting, I'm told, 32 ounces every, I think, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That is totally unacceptable. Everyone needs water on a daily basis, and you're supposed to consume how many times your body weight? They're not even able to do that. So it's a very dire, critical situation. And, some people may say it's inmates, but, there's a lot of people that don't admit that they have family members that are incarcerated. And at the end of the day, they're still humans, and they're still, people, and they deserve to have the basic need of water. So if you guys would like to support that, you can either inbox me, or you can reach out to Cassandra Greer's page. On her page, she has her Cashapp and other forms of payment, or you can let me know and I'll pick up the cases of water, or you can reach out to her and do the same. So I had to make sure that I mentioned that.
Yes, please do, because I know you had inboxed me, and I want to do something for that as well. I was trying to look for her name here on Facebook. Is it Cassandra?
Yes, Cassandra Greer. Let me see if I can.
Grier?
Greer. Greer.
Okay. Let me see. All right, guys, I'm trying to see if I can find this on Facebook, but also, as she already mentioned, you can definitely reach out to LaSonya, Queen LaSonya herself. She's Queen LaSonya on.
Let me see if I can tag her on the post. Okay. I'm going to see if I can tag her name really quick.
Okay. But yeah, this is a worthy cause, and you guys, you totally understand what I mean by how LaSonya, she just really, there's that compassion shining through again, and wanting and desiring to help someone else and others.
I tagged her on there. I believe I tagged her name.
Okay, wonderful. Hey, Karen, I see you came in. How are you? Thanks for coming in. But yeah, this is definitely something. Oh, Brandy said she was looking for her too. Okay. All right. Thank you, Brandy. Brandy put her Facebook link in there as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, she's an amazing person. Her husband, in spite of her husband passing on, he passed, I think, Easter Sunday. She has been out there every Sunday since, supporting and protesting. Now her husband's name was Nicholas Lee. She has a bus where she goes around to different prisons around the state, different states, and goes to support the inmates. And for me, this is amazing. Her husband has passed on, unfortunately, and she's still fighting and supporting others. So this is someone to follow and support. I beseech you to. I would very much appreciate it. She fought for Keenan. She got me on different platforms. When she was on the news speaking about her husband, she always mentioned my son Keenan. So she was a very intricate piece of helping him move forward. So she's just an amazing person. So please follow and support her.
Okay. All right. Marcus says huge compassion. Yeah, I agree, Marcus. Both of them, actually, LaSonya and Cassandra. This is wonderful. So make sure you guys do that. And then where can they find you? I I know you're on Facebook and you have IG pages, but let them know where they can find you.
So Moms Can Do It 2 is on Facebook as Moms Can Do It, the number 2. You can follow me there. That's where I post a lot of everything. But on Instagram, I am Moms Can Do It, the number 2 _. And then if you want, I have a website, which is www.momscandoit2.com.
I'm going to put the website in here, and guys, you can make sure you go to her Facebook page. So www.momscandoit and the number 2.com.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, if you can follow my pageant page, you can type in my name, LaSonya Alexander, and you should see Miss American Elegance Sophisticate. So if you can follow my pageant journey, that would be amazing too.
Okay. And this is on Facebook, correct?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right. We just want to make sure they don't miss you. I don't want them to miss you at all. You all see, she's a beautiful soul. She's a beautiful soul. Brandy, I'm going to let you know that Queen LaSonya was going crazy over your video, your promo vid.
I love you. Thank you.
She created that for me.
I cried. I'm like, wow. I'm so humble, so grateful. Thank you so much. It was so well put together. I very much appreciate you.
Yes. Yeah, I appreciate her too. But yeah. But yeah, it was great. And it outlined, you know, the epitome of what we were talking about on today. You know, you're not just beautiful, but you're gorgeous. You got that gorgeous, physical, gorgeous appearance, and nice, but it's not just that for you. It's on the inside, and we've heard that on today, and we appreciate it. We do. Emmanuel on IG, and there are a number of you on IG. I'm sorry, but thank you so much for joining us on today. Hopefully, there was something that you guys heard and it helped as well. Brandy did also put the website as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. Can I share one more thing, Annette?
Sure. I was going to ask you what you want to wrap us up with.
What I would like for.
Uh-oh. Is your audio trying to not be nice again?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. What I'd like for you guys to do, if possible.
It's going in and out. I'm sorry.
For the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Hey, LaSonya, do me a favor. It is breaking up.
Oh.
It's breaking up. Are you able to go out and come back in, or? I don't want to miss that last thing. She wants to tell us something, guys. So as she's doing that to get set up, you guys make sure you go to her Facebook page, Queen LaSonya Alexander. You will, see all of her information, and then also go to her website, Moms Can Do It, the number 2.com. And you will be able to click on it. You should be able to see her information. She says she lists everything on her Facebook page, and I'm sure it's on her website as well, about her journey in the pageant world. And you can follow her. And then also we want to keep in mind Cassandra Greer and the promotion that she's doing for trying to get water into the jails. So the water in Joliet, I hear, is not.
Yes, Stateville Penitentiary in Joliet.
Stateville. Okay. All right. So go ahead. You were giving us some.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Always in the end, I would like if any of you, have the desire to just be able to get training for yourself, to be able to help someone that may be struggling, that may be feeling like they want to give up. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, they have a training class so that you can be an advocate to possibly help someone from preventing someone from committing suicide. So that's something that's near and dear to my heart. And I think that every person that can learn and get the training needs to, because you never know. You may, a lot of times we say, wow, you think it just happens to people out there, but sometimes it could be the very person in your home. So If you guys could, I'll go and put the link in there later, but if you can just get the training, a lot of it's free. Even if you want to be an ambassador, if you have a story to tell, please share. And if any of you desire to be pageant queens, please let me know. American Elegance is a wonderful organization to join. And of course, if you want to support moms to do it too, please reach out to me. I'm always looking for volunteers and support so that we can help impact our communities.
Beautiful, beautiful. I have truly enjoyed you on today, as usual.
Thank you.
This is probably about her third or fourth time on my
Yeah.
show. But we never tire. You always have an open mic here. Don't ever forget that. You are going on, you have a whole year, is it, to hold this title? Okay, yes. And so you're going to be doing a lot of traveling and a lot of different events. Is that accurate?
Yes. Actually, next month I'll be traveling to Gulfport, Mississippi. I'll be modeling for the Magnifique Christmas fashion show. On January the 6th, I will be.
Yeah, I think your audio is doing it again. We're going to ask her. I'm sure she'll probably have where she's going.
That's okay. Yeah, I'll post it. I'll post it. But I'll be just speaking to people in Nigeria. I'll be doing a vision board, and my subject will be Rise Against All Odds. So I'll post that information for you guys to join. I was speaking to people in Nigeria, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, she told me that. I'm like, girl, you are moving. You are moving. I love it. But you know what? They need to hear from you. They need to receive this wonderful energy that you have and this compassion. So it needs to go around the world, Nigeria, wherever, different countries, continents. Just get out there.
Thank you.
And you are already doing a wonderful job, and we bid you Godspeed and bless you to continue on. Well, this has been a special segment, guys. I'm trying to make sure. I see Dina Rose has arrived. Greg Owens arrived. Many of you have come on. We are about to end now. You missed it, but you can rewind. You can rewind and listen to the segment in its entirety. I'm going to upload this to my YouTube channel once we have ended here, and you can also look at it over there. So on my YouTube, GetcaughtinANet Incorporated, or you can look at it the rebroadcast here on Facebook. So thank you for joining us on this special segment on today, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please make sure you go to my website for any more information. And this segment will also be on my website is set up so that you guys can look at the shows, the past shows, so you can also find what I am doing myself. So please check out my website and you won't be disappointed. All right, guys.
Not at all.
Thank you again, Queen. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Love you guys. Thank you.
Love you.
Mind, body, and soul gets caught in a net with ANet. It's your intellectual radio show, here to inspire you and encourage you to be your very best. Get caught in a net with ANet.
All right, guys, I tell you at the end of every broadcast, make sure you guys stay safe. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Oh, wash your hands. Now let me stop. Wash your hands, please. Let's be clean, be cautious, be careful. Make sure that you wear your mask, whether you are vaccinated or not. When you're in areas that are closed in, make sure you guys are taking good care of yourselves. Let's see, do your physical distancing when you need to do it. Also, I want to thank again you guys for joining me on last week for the 8th year anniversary of Mind, Body, and Soul Get Caught in a Net. I appreciate each and every one of you. There were so many people that were on the Zoom and also on the live feed that I didn't get a chance to recognize. I wanted to hear from as many of you as I could. So those of you that I didn't get a chance to get to have you to talk, Please charge it to my head, not my heart. I want everyone to be able to make connections. I am grateful and appreciative of the connections that have been made after last week's show. There were so many of you all that reached out to different ones who have various projects, or it's their line of work. You were following up with them. You want to connect with them. That's been going on since last Wednesday, and I've been getting messages, and you guys will let me know that it was beneficial. So not only did we celebrate 8 years, but we also was able to make connections going forward. So I think that's key, guys. I really think that that's key. So thank you again. And those of you that are my winners, I did come on after the show ended last week, did another live. I announced my winners, and I'm giving you guys till today to contact me. So if you need to go back to the second video on last week to see who the winners were, I tagged you. I did tag you in that video. So I need you to contact me because I have these gifts and I'm ready to give them out to you. But you need to contact me. Again, I tagged those who were winners. So you need to go back in your notifications and see if you were tagged, if you are one of the winners. Okay. So please hit me up, inbox me. So many of you have my number. Call me. I need to get these gifts out to you. So we're going to get out of here. And I've talked enough. Let me make sure there wasn't anything else. All right, guys. So this Wednesday, I will probably not have a guest. I don't know if I'm going to come on and say anything or not. You guys have seen enough of me in this past 2 weeks anyway. I hope your Thanksgiving was nice. This is the holiday season that we're in. We're prepping for Christmas. But the holiday season is upon us. But you guys, please make sure you're safe, whatever you're doing, however you're celebrating. Again, we're not going to be fighting over who's vaxxed and who's not. That is your decision to make. But please be safe. All right. All right. We will see you guys soon. Again, go to my website, GetcaughtinANetRadio.com. Peace, guys.